We are rolling on time again. I'm proud of myself. History and politics. And to allow people some time to get into the room, I actually start off with some reading. Once again, please like, subscribe, share. This is an academic channel. One second. I see I'm going to have a problem because I always hit the table and I don't want the camera moving. I guess I should take that off. This is what we do every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. We go live for about 20 minutes, not a long time. I'm in the middle of writing my book. I meet with a publisher tomorrow, fingers crossed. Um, but every Monday through Thursday from the university, from my second university, we go live. Don't want you to see what my university is. We go live and we talk about the historical framework that is connected to the politics we're seeing today. And I am looking at a an article, March 19th, 2025, so very January, February, March, month old. And it says Trump has launched a second American revolution. This time it's against the world. 2 months into his second presidency, Donald Trump is revolutionizing U.S. foreign policy. His policies will upend the world order by destabilizing the ultimate and ultimately destroying established institutions and patterns of international cooperation. Since 1945, the United States has been the leading champion, underwriter, and guarantor of an open, rule bound global system under international law. Now, it rejects the logic of multilateralism, including any self restraint on the exercise of U.S. power and the responsibilities for global leadership and stability. In its scope and speed, this wholesale reorientation of U.S. foreign policy has few precedents in American history outside responses to surprise attacks such as Pearl Harbor or 9/11. One analog to this sudden U.S. embrace of containment during the celebrated 15 weeks of February through June of 1947, bookended by the enunciation of Truman Doctrine and the launch of the Marshall Plan. The difference today is that we are not the creation, but the destruction. American hands are shattering the institutional framework of global cooperation the world has long taken for granted. On the eve of the nation's 250th birthday, Trump has launched the Second American Revolution. He is declaring its independence from the world America made. Now, MAGA, we can finally be on the same side. So I'm going to push videos with me and with MAGA and I on the same side, okay? Because we truly are in this particular case. Because I want to illustrate this zero sum politics, zero sum racial ideology, zero sum economic ideology is just a divisive attempt for us not to cooperate and keep us competing. The best way to compete is not to compete, because productivity is the result of cooperation. If we're constantly against each other, we're not cooperating. So the best way to compete, it's like the genius guy, beautiful mind, who came up with though he suffered from schizophrenia, he came up with the formula that the best way for everyone to achieve is to not to do what's best for themselves individually, but to do what's best for the group. And if everyone sacrifices for the group, everyone will do better. Um, we have what zero sum is if the Republicans said, I can't say anything good about what the Republicans said, or I can't say anything good about what the Democrats said if I'm the opposite. Because if I give them any credit, that means they're right. I can't agree with anything they say, or that means I agree with everything they say. Or if I disagree with one thing they said, I have to disagree with everything they said. That's zero sum. It's either all or none. This article, I really think, is unfair to the MAGA group or particularly to Trump. It's talking about, and this was written by Stuart Patrick, and it was printed on the Carnegie Endowment for International. It kind of runs off, but it's the you can go to CarnegieEndowment.org to check it out, and it's talking as though America historically is this world friend that has built this egalitarian framework all over the world. And Trump is just coming out of nowhere and tearing it down. Now, Trump may be tearing down the existing framework of international policy, but historically, the United States is not a friend to anyone. The United States allies with people through force, through influence, or through convenience. So this destabilizing and ultimately destroying established institutions and patterns of international cooperation. And, I'm going to go further into this, but it's applying as many suppositions as MAGA generally does. That everything was bad before it, and everything was bad before it, and he's making it better, or everything was good before it, now Trump is making it bad. And we have to understand the state of everything. We're just a fiscal quarter into the to the year. Trump took over in February. All of these problems that we have financially and all these problems that we have that's Biden. That's the Democrats. And we would have had these same problems, if not worse, under Harris. She had no platform. She did not talk about doing anything different. She would have done the same thing he's doing. She probably would have done it a different way, but all the money would have gone to the rich people and we would be coming to a financial crisis. Maybe not as fast, but that was the same thing happening under Biden. People act like if the United States isn't in a recession, the president is doing well by the working class. No. Let's look further into this, because I think I'm pretty hard on MAGA, and I want to be fair. 10 themes in Trumpian foreign policy. During the president's first term, analysis struggled to define a Trump doctrine. It was a fool's errand. Temperamentally capricious and instinctively transactional, Trump doesn't do grand strategy. His primary purposes are pecuniary, petulant, and patrimonial. there can be no unified theory of Trumpian engagement. Now, I don't care what level of education you have, when you begin to use words that most people don't know, especially if this is not an academic writing, this is a public writing, it's usually something being hidden. But let's keep going. Still, certain recurrent motivations, preferences, and themes that collectively account to a worldview are discernible in the Trump administration's flurry of executive orders and policy pronouncements to which foreign partners will need to respond. An abdication of U.S. leadership and responsibility. In the decades following World War II, successive U.S. administrations championed, invested in, and defended an open, rule-bound international order embedding America's power in the multi-unilateral institutions like the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, NATO, and the Organization of American States. Here is one thing I have to say. What are you talking about? Stuart Patrick, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 paragraphs, and you haven't addressed what your problem is. Trump is doing this with these people, these countries, moving this money, divesting here, investing there. Basically, this is code talk for Trump's not a good guy. But this is why I'm so lost when I'm seeing people so dedicated to these parties, and either party is saying nothing. This is hugely a Democratic slant, but is articulated, no point, no thought, nothing for an American who wants knowledge and information to judge has been offered yet. And we are 25% into the article. So what this writing is doing is preparing us. It's either, if you're not liking, if you're not, I'm either baiting you to not like Trump. I'm giving you the don't like Trump, don't like Trump, don't like Trump. Either you're going to stop reading or you agree with it, so you're going to keep reading. But this is not, hey, this is what Trump is doing. What do you think? This is what Trump's doing. This is what I think. Tell us what you think. The first 25% of it is Trump's not a good guy. Bad guys can do good things. Is this one of those cases? I'm not saying Trump's a bad guy or not. I don't agree with his politics. I do agree with the fact that they should not take down the Confederate historical memorabilia. I don't think that any parts of American history should be censored. I don't have to agree with his politics. I can agree with that. So somebody I don't agree with can do a good thing. Why do we have to go through a quarter of a page of this is not a good guy before we get to the meat of the stuff? How far are we going to go before we get to the meat of anything? They wanted to enhance the predictability, legitimacy, and stability at the international system by facilitating international cooperation on shared dilemmas and discouraging revisionist efforts to overthrow it. By contrast, Trump perceives and indeed welcomes a cutthroat world. Wow, listen to that. The same writing that used the words pecuniary, petulant, and patrimonial dropped all the way down in the next paragraph to cutthroat. A cutthroat world in which norms and rules mean nothing. All relationships are transactional. Every relationship is transactional. That's what we still ain't got to the point. They still have not said what he's done wrong, and we are definitely 25% into this. He's transactional. Everything is a transaction. That's what contracts are. That's what treaties are. That's what policy is. These are the things that are going to govern us. Do you understand it? Yes. Do you understand it? Yes. This is the outcome if you don't do it. Okay, that's it's a transaction. Don't go for these political buzzwords before they even tell you what the problem is. Let's keep going. The death of the world America made. Okay. America made it. That makes it right. Let's keep going. Mindset of sovereignty on steroids. The administration has embraced a defensive and distorted interpretation of sovereignty that is skeptical of international organizations and treaties. Now this is a problem? The country that created Liberia, the country that tried to ship black people to Haiti, the country that's broken every treaty with Native Americans, the country that forced Mexico to give up millions of acres of land with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. This is new. Okay. Conservative nationalists have long opposed binding multilateral commitments on the suspicious grounds that they place unacceptable limits on the United States' freedom of action to endanger constitutional self-government while allowing weaker players to gang up on the United States. Okay? Consistent with this view, the president has directed his Secretary of State to examine all international treaties the United States is party to and the international organizations it is a member in, and to recommend by late July the obligations it should terminate. That is actually intelligent. If I come in as president, what are we doing with whom and what should we not be doing? He's doing an assessment. That's what you're supposed to do. Trump has already repudiated the Paris Climate Agreement and the World Health Organization. Hundreds of other conventions and bodies are now in the crosshairs, including, in theory, the United Nations itself. We still haven't gotten to anything wrong. Right now, they're saying he's coming in after an administration he did not believe in. And I don't know why the American people would believe in it, because the economy has not been good for many, many years. All right. What's wrong right now? He's saying, let's do an evaluation of what we're doing and what we're considering stopping. A degeneration of the West and U.S. alliances. In stark contrast with his predecessors, Trump lacks any solidarity with the other advanced market democracies that collectively constitute the West. Consider NATO. Trump treats it as nothing more than a protection racket, ignoring the collective identity that has long undergirdled history's most successful alliance. The preamble of the 1949 treaty that established NATO celebrates its inheritance, noting the signatories' determination to safeguard the freedom, common heritage, and civilization of the peoples founded in the principles of democracy. NATO didn't do anything for the civil rights movement. Why would black folks, that's not a huge group to sell. Think about it. When is the last time we as American people had any devastation in the country? Let's say George Floyd. What was NATO doing? Katrina. What was NATO doing? Haiti, when they had that earthquake. we're still we still haven't heard what it is Trump is doing. And I'm not going to read the entire thing. I just want you to look at how American politics is covered. And it's not, oh, Republicans are bad or Democrats. No, this is class, this is wealth, this is political spin. This sounds just like MAGA writing. It's just going the other way. Hasn't stated a word, hasn't put forth any concrete assertion against the president. It's just basically saying he's a bad guy and we don't like him because he's president. So, Trump has launched the second American Revolution. This is from the Carnegie Endowment.org. Not impressed. Not impressed. So, Democrats, I would say pick up your game, but that's not even a game I believe in.